Hey folks, Bruce here from For Low Life, and you think you know how to turn things on and off properly? And I say, oh really? Okay, that was bad. But today I want to talk to you about relays. So many of you may have seen these little black boxes. This is a standard Bosch style automotive relay, and we use it to turn things on and off. And the reason we use a relay to turn things on and off is because this can handle a higher current than a little toggle switch that you put in your dash. It also allows us to only run a low current into the cab of your vehicle or into your car and back out to where it's going to be, and put the high current closer to the load and where the battery are. So you don't have to run a big cable into your cab, into your console to where your switch is, and then a big cable all the way back. We put this between the battery, and say we're wiring some floodlights on the front. This goes between the battery and the floodlights, and the high current run is only in the very front of the truck or car or whatever you're wiring. So the way that this works is there's a very small coil inside. And what I've done, I've taken another one apart, make it easier for you to see. So a little closer here so you can actually see. Here's what you see when you see a relay, and here's what's inside. So this little coil of wire here acts as a magnet. When you pass a current through this small coil of wire, it pulls and it moves this little arm here. And you can see this little arm is moving between two different contacts. And those are the normally open and the normally closed contacts that you'll find on the back of here, which are known as pin 87 and pin 87A. So our common pin, which is pin 30 usually, which is right here, is common to both 87A and 87. Pin 87A is the normally closed, so that's the position that this relay is in right now. That is contacting with pin 30 and 87A. When I energize the coil, it will click down and it will contact pin 30. And what that does is allows us to pass a high current, so this relay is rated between 30 and 40 amps, it allows us to pass a high current between 30 and 87 by using a low current between 85 and 86. So a very small switch and small wiring can handle the coil, because as you can see the coil is very small wire. And then a large current goes through the heavy duty contacts. So the best way to wire one of these is to use a little socket. So you can do the permanent wiring, and you can swap out a relay if you blow a relay, because they do go, the coils go and the contacts get dirty. So you pop your relay into the holder, and once you've wired that, you'll never have to disconnect the wiring if you need to change a relay. Like I said, you just pop them in and out like the ones in the panel in your car. So the key to understanding these, really, they're pretty straightforward. It's standard Bosch style relay. Pin 85 and 86 are the coil, and pin 30 is the common. Pin 87 and 87A are the two that you can switch. So inside the relay electrically looks like this, sort of. This is 86 and 85. That's a strange 8. And then over here, we'll draw it a little different. This is going to be 30. And we've got a contact here that's 87. A contact here that's 87A. So if you want something to be on all the time, you wire the circuit. Battery comes in on 30, goes out on 87A. That will be on all the time. When you energize the coil with your toggle switch, it'll move to 87 and it will disconnect 30 from 87A. So if you want something to be on when your ignition is off, for example, if you wire your ignition to the coil, when you turn that ignition on, it'll energize the coil, flips to 87. But if you've wired between 30 and 87A, it's going to turn off when you turn your ignition on. Vice versa, if you want something to only come on when your ignition is on, you can use your ignition as a control. So your ignition will power the coil. When your ignition comes on, the magnet clicks over and you connect 30 to 87. You can also use this, you can use lots of different things. You can use a reverse light trigger to turn on more lights so you're not loading up the OEM circuit in your vehicle. you just trigger the relay, which is a very low current. When your reverse lights come on, you tap into the reverse lights into your coil. Reverse lights come on, they energize the coil, turn the relay on to 87, you have your big floodlights in reverse, they come on, you go out of reverse, coil de-energizes, clicks back over to 87A, your lights have come off. This way you're not using wiring that's already in the vehicle to try and power more lights, more objects, but you're getting the same effect without having to wire in more switches. You don't have to use a toggle switch or a push button to control the relay. You can use something that's already in the vehicle. So if I want to have an extra set of lights come on when my high beams come on, I can take a trigger wire from the high beam circuit, power it to 86, ground 85, bring power from my battery into 30, and run my additional lights off of 87. When I flick my high beams on, it's going to energize the coil. Power comes from 30 and goes out to the lights on 87. You can also use this a little bit backwards if you want to have two different sources going to one thing. Wouldn't happen very often, but let's just say you had something you wanted to run at 12 volts and 24 volts. If you put 12 volts here and 24 volts here and your output there, your coil will control whether your output is getting 12 volts or 24 volts. Most of the time you're not going to need that, but maybe you have something that can operate on dual voltage, maybe some lights that are brighter on 24 and they're rated for up to 24 volts. Some things are rated 9 to 36 volts. You get a better, brighter light on 24 volts than you will on 12. So if you have them standard running off of 12 volts, coming off the one side, 87A, which is normal, and then you turn your high beams on and it energizes the coil, and now you bring in 24 volts to brighten the lights up, that kind of thing. There's lots of different ways to use a relay, but the key is you're using it to switch a high current load with a low current. You can use a different circuit to control it, so you don't actually have to turn switches on to turn other lights on or turn whatever you want on. If you want a fan to come on when you shift into fifth gear, you can make it happen using a circuit that already exists. So I hope that's helped some people understand relays. I will eventually be wiring some up, but you get the idea of where the little pins are, what they do on the inside, where the controls are, and what you can do with the output. Well, I hope that helped people understand where to use a relay a little bit. If you have questions, post them below. I'll do my best to answer them. And stick around, there's more videos coming. I know it's been a while since I did post something. It's been a pretty busy summer so far. But click subscribe, click like, click the little bell so you get a notification when I do post another video. You can follow me on Instagram for pictures, and stick around. There's more coming. Thanks.